Okay, I'm here with Joe Shaker of the Shaker Automotive Group, and Joe's going to share with Automotive Internet Sales this truly revolutionary system process for technology for Mazda OEM. And Joe, tell us what you did.
Well, we developed a sales app for iPad for the sales process, and in that app, when I came up with the thought process on it, I thought about we had flaws in the sales process and weaknesses in the sales process. So I went to Mazda and I said, hey, you know what? I got a great idea. I'd like to do it with a company that can move on a dime and get it done quick, and I'd like the autonomy to operate it and set it all up. And the executives at Mazda, Jim O'Sullivan, Robert Davis, and the whole crew there said, yeah, we'll do it with you. We'd love to. So we developed about a year ago the sales process iPad app. And simply what we did was different than other people. Some people take their website and they put it on an iPad and they let people run amok all over the showroom with it. What we did was we broke down the sales process. We started by writing down the sales process on a wall, and everybody has a different process. We understood that. And then we drew circles around weaknesses in the sales process. And we saw problems that we had just in the sales department by itself. So by breaking down the sales process, we started off with needs discovery. We said you don't need an iPad to greet somebody. Well, the meet and greet actually. Then needs discovery came second. Part of needs discovery sometimes is people ask what's the difference between an XLT or a Lariat at Ford, or at Mazda specifically, what's the difference between a Touring and a GT. Now, I never saw an executive do a presentation without a PowerPoint, and those are some of the best speakers I've ever met. So the reality was, even if you were a great salesperson and you knew the difference, here's what it would sound like to the customer. The difference between the Touring and the GT is blah, 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 blah. I don't believe you because you're a salesman, blah, blah, blah. I can't retain it because I can't see it. So what we did was we developed all the stuff to show people different packaging on the iPad. And it was really part of our needs discovery process. After, we got through needs discovery, vehicle selection we know doesn't happen right there with the customer. We know what happens at the desk when you get back. So we knew that vehicle selection was important, that the management and sales put together the car that the customer wants through the needs discovery process information. Next becomes presentation. So presentations in the car business to me are like snowflakes. There's never one that's the same. Everyone's different. There's new salespeople that don't do them. They're very hard. They're rarely done anyway. Probably done around 15%. Showrooms are too small, or when you pull up the car, the customer scoots. To us, we wanted customer experience to be identical. So what we did was we developed vehicle presentations. So for an example, Sean, if I'm going out and I'm going to get a vehicle, I know we're going to get a Touring, I'm going to get the vehicle just like you selected, pull it up front. It takes me about 10 minutes. While I'm out there, so that I make best use of your time, let me show you the specific video about that CX-5 that you wanted. Now at our dealerships, our presentations are 100% done. They're 100% consistent, or as I like to tell the folks at Mazda, our French fries, they all taste the same now. It's not left for interpretation. We've actually taken the experience from Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and we've brought it down right at the dealership, and we're able to provide a consistent message, and it's the same promise that was made from Tier 1 all the way down. Last thing, I think, and I'll give you, we can go on and on about this, but I think one of the most important things is when you get back from a demo, you have demonstration as part of your sales process, and then everybody has trial close. How did you like the CX-5? I loved it. How did you like the ride? Loved it. This, yes, yes, yes. Well, if terms are agreeable and affordable today, Sean, is this a car you can see yourself driving home? Many times, yes, and then you're going to move on and you're going to negotiate. And other times, people say, you know what, I really loved it, but I have to look at this crossover as an example. Well, what do you do at that point at every dealership? Okay, good. And even if you do know the information and you're an automobile savant, the customer's not going to believe you or be able to retain what you say. So we put together incredible comparison data. That comparison data allows you to break out car by car, and it allows you to really talk about, go to battle, if you would, against your competition in a realistic format. And when the iPad provides all this information that you could never memorize, even 4, 5, 6 month old salespeople, in terms of their tenure at the dealership, 6 months on the job, they look professional. And then we can go on and on with what happens when you're waiting for F&I, but that's where it's at.
Okay, I have a couple questions. I think this is awesome. If I'm understanding this correctly, it's not just having an iPad at the desk with a preloaded video that you just hand, you know what I mean, to the prospect. You're actually integrating it at different key steps. There's still going to be the human element. Like obviously, you mentioned the other day when we talked about this, instead of, you're not going to use it in absence of doing a full product presentation possibly, or in absence of a test drive. This is going to be used to supplement, if I understand it, or no?
Yeah, well, our goal is to have great customer experience and to make deals with customers. And like I said, I'll just repeat it. When you're trying to explain packaging to customers, what's the best way to do it? If you had a pre-made PowerPoint for that customer, wouldn't that be great? But how do we know who's going to come in? So we basically have pre-made PowerPoints so you can explain it. Presentations, they're rarely done. How about a consistent one done 100% of the time? That's another problem in the sales process we fixed. Trial close, I'm looking at something else. How do we handle that? Today, you just say, well, have a good look at the Honda CR-V.
Okay, Joe, so this is awesome. My next question, though, is what's the evolution of this? Because there's obviously that whole thing of ZMOT, Google's zero moment of truth, and I definitely think this technology is way beyond what most dealers are doing or even conceiving as a possibility. But do you have any idea of how to integrate reviews into this, or is that supplement, or is that segregated, or how do you feel that reviews, whether they're professional like J.D. Power reviews, awards, or they're actual customer reviews that have actually driven it, do you have that integrated into this app, or is that a future thing?
No, yes we do. We have it integrated in the app. We
wow.
actually purchase licensing on articles so that we can show third-party reviews to customers when they're at the dealership. Again, there's another good comparison if someone wants to compare a Mazda 3 versus Civic. If we have a review on that vehicle competing with each other, that review we have on the app. We're able to bring up third party. You know, two things. Number one is we want to provide all that information. We also have reviews that you can put on our dealer section. Nothing changes in the sales process. You sell yourself, you sell a dealership, you sell the car. We have a dealer section there that allows you to show your deal value proposition and why do business there. That should be part of a sales process. We have that right on the iPad. You just press it right before you go to negotiation. In our process, we go, before we talk price, there's something you need to know about us, and then we'll go through the value proposition, which is on the iPad app, instead of having it on a flip chart. Reviews, we have reviews. We actually buy reviews or buy the licenses to reviews to have them on the app so that we can share those with customers. I think one of the things you brought up from Zero Moment of Truth is the fact that the thing I like about the iPad is it provides an appropriate transition from that electronic experience you had at home in the comfort of your home to the brick and mortar. It used to be click and then brick. Now it provides a nice, seamless, open, and with the electronic and all the information there, a transparent perspective for that buyer.
Well, you bring up another point, and since we're talking about the Apple iPads, when you ever go to an Apple store, that whole experience that you get from Apple, where the rep comes out with the iPad, in their hand, and they're able to show you everything right there. If people are going online, which we know it's 92 to 99% of Americans are going online, I love what you just said, that you're perpetuating the same usability, the same experience, not only when they're in their house, but when they're actually at the dealership. You're almost making this like that Apple-esque type experience. Is that correct?
Yeah, we think that you used to be on the internet, you'd get to this dealership and it'd be a hard stop. Then you'd be into the brick and mortar world. Right now, we don't have a hard stop. We still have paperwork. We still have some of the nonsense that we have to go through in terms of buying the second largest purchase, in regulations and all the things that we have to abide by. And so it's not a hard stop anymore. It creates a smooth transition in the buying process, very similar to what they're experiencing at home, and that provides for good customer experience and for a comfort level.
Question for you. What about B-backs? Because obviously, I know your store is way above national average for closing ratios, but let's just take the average store that has, as per NADA, an 18 to 20% closing ratio. If they, up 500 prospects in their dealership, 400 are leaving. With this software, are you able to email or text people the presentation with the numbers, or how does that work? Or can you share that? Is that classified?
Yeah, no, some of the stuff I can't share, but really realistically at any dealership, and I'm just as like a common sense thing now that you've heard a little bit of what we're doing is, wouldn't it be always great to show someone some information and have them wowed by it, and
yes,
have it PDF'd or mailed to their house or in any fashion?
Because if
That's
they,
just, I think that's where the whole market is going, and it wouldn't surprise you to think that we were already on that.
yeah, because if you go to the average dealership that doesn't do anything remotely as close to this, is that they get nothing, or they get like a paper, be-back sheet, hey, don't forget me, and
Well,
that type of
many
stuff.
of your clients, I'm sure, use links as part of their email responses back to customers. So it's really not a lot different from what you're doing today with your internet departments and all the folks your clients you work with. But it's the same, but on the ground. It's a customer requesting a piece of information or a video that you can get to them, and they don't have to carry it out of the dealership. I think that's where all brochures and all that stuff is going anyway.
All right, I'm so sorry because you're intriguing the hell out of me with this. I have one final question, and you could turn around and say no comment, or you could just run with it. What about mobile? Because you're talking about this as an app, and my thing is that I run a national company, and I do most of my pre-business, meaning like the closing and the presentations, over the phone. With video go-to-meetings, etc. Have you had any desire from your prospects to be presented this way through like a video go-to-meeting or through a phone app? Have you bridged that barrier yet?
Well, the technology on the iPad is mobile technology, right? So we already know that. I really, don't want to talk about what we have planned, because the real gain for us isn't the fact that someone can go out and program this. It's that I believe we're just so far ahead on what we've learned from it. And the real deal about iPad usage at dealerships is that execution. Everybody knows that technology is moving way quicker than human behavior, and you could have the best app in the world, but if it can't get effectuated at the store and used, there's no use for the app. So some of that stuff in mobile is our forward-thinking items. We have a bunch of stuff that we've learned on this process, and I'll tell you that next time we're together.
Thank you, Joe. This was really an eye-opener, and we all appreciate it at automotiveinternetsales.com. Thank you.